today we have DJ and owner of Rhodes Entertainment, Eric Rhodes. What's going on, man?
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. He has a good voice too.
I know.
I'm just
You
gonna say,
have
I
a
don't make
radio,
this weird off the bat, but he's got a good voice for podcasting.
yeah, like a radio voice too. Yeah, podcast voice, radio voice, however you want to. Yeah. Have you ever been told that? Have you gotten that comment before?
I've received that a lot recently, and it's something I've worked on over the years.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
listen to yourself talk? Like, do you listen to yourself and then kind of fix or talk to, or how do you do that? What do you mean you worked on it? Tell me about that. Because I hate listening to my voice. Josh, no, I don't listen to our podcast usually back. Josh knows this. Like, I just don't like listening to my own voice. So I try not to. So what does that entail?
I'm the same way. I don't.
Okay.
So I do these TikTok videos and Instagram reels where I speak and set up my mixes, and I hate hearing them. But yeah, so I have a background in, my college degree was radio, TV, and digital media production. So I had a radio show that was mostly music, but I did have to talk during college, and I took some classes on announcing and skills like that. That was years ago. And then most recently, over the last decade, I've gone to Toastmasters. I take, more intimate workshops for public speaking, specifically for wedding, MC, and storytelling and things like that. So I've really worked on that. And then when I'm making an announcement, because I do a lot of weddings, I put my headphones on like you have, Josh, and I listen as I'm making those announcements real clearly how I sound, as opposed to just letting it be out in the open. It's different when you can actually hear yourself speaking very clearly. So that's
100%.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that is that you always hear, podcasts or radio people, and they're talking about, hey, put the headphones on and it makes it better. I'm like, really? And for the longest time we were podcasting without headphones. Then I got the mic where I could, plug in and hear myself. I don't think I can go back. Like, it'd be really difficult to go back after I'm able to hear myself, because it just makes everything so much easier. And I know if I'm too loud, too far away, all that stuff. It's really nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before we get too far into Eric's background, I do have to say, so we start the show off by saying how we're connected to our guests. And I'm sure a lot of people are connected to you this way, but it's social media. There's a friend of mine on Instagram that she shared one of your videos a few months back. I want to say it was a mashup between Regulate by Warren G and something else. I forgot what was it?
Morgan Wallen, Chasing You.
Morgan Wallen, that's what it was. And so she shared that. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And we started following you. And then I followed you for a while. Like, this is a lot of fun what you're doing. And then obviously seeing the pictures of you at actual events. And then at some point I'm like, you know what? We just need to have this guy on, because I just love what you do, man. It's a lot of fun. So it's pretty simple. That's how we're connected. Like I said, probably a lot of people are connected with you the same way. Social media. I mean, you have over 1 million followers on TikTok, right?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a wild
really
thing
fast too. Yeah.
Well, and because again, like music like we talked about, and we were kind of DMing about, like, music connects people, right? And so anytime there's that music, and that's why TikTok is so big, because they incorporate music so well. And that's what you do, and you're a pro at it. So it's like, yeah, of course you're gonna have 1 million people following you, which is kind of a wild thing if you think about it. Like there's 2 million eyeballs that are following you all the time. Is that weird?
I try not to think about it too much.
Oh, here I brought it up.
No,
Yeah.
No, it's good. You're bringing up some anxiety. No, I just think about, individuals. Who am I speaking to, and the type of person that I'm speaking to or mixing for. And so I try not to get too overwhelmed, but when I do think about it, it's like, holy cow. Like, I'm from Idaho. We have 1.7 million or so residents.
Yeah.
So I'm almost at the state of Idaho for fan base.
That's weird to think about. That's a wild thought. Yeah. You're like basically the mayor of the state.
Yeah.
Everybody's just
cool,
listening.
I like it. It's fun. It especially when I'm trying to bring joy and positivity to people.
Sure.
Being recognized for that is pretty cool.
That's awesome. I love it.
I'm scrolling through your TikTok right now. Sorry. I promise I'm paying attention, but I'm just looking which one, this is insane. Which one, was there a certain one, like which one went, I guess, quote, viral, or how did this all start?
Yeah. So,
How did,
I'll just focus on TikTok because I think the whole story is important, but I started TikTok on May 4th of 2021.
okay.
And, no followers, maybe a few friends, because I had a page for several months, but didn't do anything with it. And then my first video got several thousand views. And so I knew I was onto something. And it just sort of evolved. By July of last year, I had a video go viral, a million views, and it included In Sync, and Lance Bass commented on it.
Shut up.
So I started getting
crazy.
really excited about this platform, and it just sort of gradually, I just kept nurturing it. And by December, I had 100,000 followers.
Wow.
Then by March, I had 145, I think, thousand.
Wow.
And that's when I did a mashup of Chris Stapleton, You Should Probably Leave, and Cash Out, Big Booty. So I mixed hip hop and country together, and that just skyrocketed my page. And then the Warren G one you mentioned also went very viral.
Yeah.
So between those two videos, by May, I had 1 million followers. So I went from 150 to 1 million in 2 months.
That's crazy.
It was so fast. Yeah.
That's
Crap.
crazy. Deb, one of us needs to become a DJ so we can get some eyes on this podcast.
I
We need to
wouldn't-
do something.
We need something. Our talents are very limited, that's for sure. We just talk.
we can turn the computer on and talk a little bit, and that's it. That's the extent of what we can do. Not like you, man, not as talented. But so
Awesome.
like take us back a little bit. Like, how did you get into DJing? I mean, you explained it a little bit, kind of your background, but like tell us, where did your love for music start? When did you start doing events and DJing? And then, like, how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah. So brief history. I loved music as a kid. I'm 42, going to be 43 in 2 weeks. And so I grew up in the 80s when my parents had vinyl and cassette tapes.
Yeah.
And so I was just obsessed with them, and I would touch the records whenever I could and make little mixtapes whenever I could. And that was just always a part of my life. And, that led to making mix CDs and for little parties and things. So I was always in it. But it wasn't until college in 2000 that I went to a rave, saw 2 DJs performing at the same time, and I was just enthralled. And they were mixing vinyl, no digital, it wasn't all computer based. And I loved what they were doing. So I took my student loan money. It was a summer before sophomore year, I think. And I bought all the equipment and some records and just started practicing and became obsessed with it. And it was a hobby for several years, played a few clubs and house parties. But then about 2006 is when I really started to get into clubs and lounges and taking it a little more seriously.
Sure.
I had a career in TV news. I was a news producer and a videographer. Hated my job. Some people love it. It was not for me. It was just something I thought I had to do. And on the side, I was doing weddings and birthday parties and playing clubs. And I had this kind of aha moment. I did an event for the news station, and one of the top guys in the company came up to me the next day and was like, "Eric, you did an awesome job. Do you do this a lot?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. Just on the side." He was, "You're really good. What the hell are you doing here?"
Yeah.
And it was like, he was just looked me dead straight in the eyes, and that hit me. And I'm like, kind of thought, what am I doing here? Why am I not pursuing my dream?
Right.
I'll do this full time. So that's what I did in 2011. And I ended up leaving news, and the rest is sort of history. Yeah. I've just grew my business, and now I'm here.
Wow.
That's awesome. Now, was that a scary jump to make? Because I feel like you hear people all the time when they jump in to pursue their passion. Some people are like, I had no doubt. And some people are like, man, there was a couple of days there where I'm like, was this a mistake? So like, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, well, it was scary because my wife and I were about to have our first child. And my plan was start the business and do this nice, easy, transition where I make enough money in the business that I can leave the news job. But I think it was amazing what happened. Not for a lot of people, but for me, it was perfect. We all got laid off. The entire news staff got laid off at the end of the year. And we just had a baby. I was like, what do I do? Do I try to go find another job, which most people did in the market?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I just jump in and do this. And so I just jumped in and did it. And I had skill, I waited tables in college. So I just like, all right, I'll wait tables for a while, supplement my income that way. And basically gave myself no other option. And I think that was the best thing I could possibly have done, is not give myself an option. Because if you have that other option, like, oh, well, I have the security of the job and the security of the benefits, it may never have happened. Who knows?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy how it worked out. Cause like you said, you were like kind of not forced, but like, you're like, well, like now I have all this time, like what other choice do I have? And, in the restaurant industry, like good tips, like that's a good way to like make that income money too. So that sounds like it worked. Like it was fate. Like you had to, like, that was something that had to happen. That's cool.
For real. That's what it felt like. Like, even though it was scary, I'm like, I think this is meant to be, for sure.
Yeah.
One of my good friends, he's a motivational speaker, and he recently, over the last couple of years, released a book talking about steering your fear into greatness, right? And the whole thing's about taking that fear and using it to not prevent you from getting to where you're trying to go, but to propel you to where you're trying to go. And so, I mean, you can speak to that for sure, because I mean, like you said, I mean, I have two young ones, under 4. And so, some of those pressures really start to build up once you have the kids, right? And you were right at that moment when you were just about to start your family, and then to do that. So I imagine that was like a front seat lesson to how fear can really move you in the right direction if you're willing to allow it, which is good for you, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was afraid. And, I took that energy. I don't know if I really realized it at the time, but looking back, I took that energy and just was like, I have to make this happen. And that made me, put in the extra time, and it forced me to just get good and learn how to market and learn how to brand myself and do all of these things, because I was afraid if this thing fails, or if I screw up, I got the kid, the wife, everything's on the line. So for sure, it definitely propelled me forward a lot faster, being afraid. Yeah.
Sorry, I have to ask a stupid question. Sometimes this happens on this podcast, but like, if I don't ask this question, it's going to drive me nuts. Are you a football fan?
I am.
Okay. You look like Christian McCaffrey to me. Do you get that ever?
I haven't gotten that yet.
All right. Well, I had to say it.
For everything.
Yeah. I'm just like, I can't not mention this at this point. So I don't know what it is. You just look like Christian McCaffrey. You're probably injured a lot less than he is, which is probably a good thing. But anyways, go ahead, Deb. You have another question? My dumb one's out of the way.
Okay. Josh is going to talk about that for the next 3 episodes now.
I'm going to mention that again for sure.
I love it.
Bro crush. How did you, I'm just thinking, how did you learn how to DJ? Like, you said you bought equipment. So from there, like, did you just YouTube? How did work everything? And how does one learn how to do that is my question.
Yeah. I mean, back then YouTube didn't exist yet. So it was 2000.
Right.
I surrounded myself with other DJs in the area, and I just had them teach me. And they said, this is how you beat match, and this is what this does. And then I would just go back to them, well, how do I do this? And that's basically how I learned, was just from people. And then because I think just instinctively I understood it when they told me. It didn't take, there was a small learning curve, I think. Once I got it. And I was really into house music, electronic music. And so I listened to a lot of CDs of DJs sing and kind of just try to emulate them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And because not a lot of people like are born with that rhythmic, like they hear the rhythm, just everyone's different and born with different gifts, but you obviously have the gift of rhythm, because you have to hear that beat and you have to know when to throw, the beat match thing or whatever, however you call it. So I have a friend who is so rhythmically challenged. She can't hear a beat for anything. It's Deb. Sorry, I just called her out in front of everyone.
There we go.
She knows. She knows. She's gotten better, but it's amazing. So I think that's probably one of the gifts like you possess, to be able to like catch on to that and to naturally get that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it certainly helped, and I'm very thankful for that gift. I mean, I've had to work on the craft to be more skilled, but I definitely have that natural ability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a weird, so I mean, you mentioned, talking to other DJs, and obviously in any field that you find yourself in, there's competition, but it seems like some places and some fields are a little bit more friendly and are more willing to lend a helping hand and kind of almost like mentor someone who's just coming up in whatever the craft is. Um, what's the DJ world like? I mean, like I said, we had another DJ on this podcast a little while ago, and he had a similar story where it was like a lot of DJs, he reached out to them and they helped him along as well, kind of like yourself. Is it a pretty friendly, inviting world, or is it, a little bit more tense where not everybody's willing to help you?
I think for the most part, there are a lot of supportive people, but if you go to like some of these major Facebook groups, and
Yeah,
it's
sure.
like there's a major one called DJ idea sharing, and
Okay.
it's supposed to be supportive, but you'll see a lot of DJs ask questions that maybe an experienced DJ thinks is stupid
Yeah.
because everybody should know that or whatever it is. And there are a lot of harsh comments that come up and it belittling and making people feel bad. And it's like, what? But on the flip side, there are a lot of guys like me who I try to surround myself with, that are very supportive, and we're like, let's all grow together and support each other. And like, I'm in a few different sort of mastermind groups that we're all about helping each other and lifting each other up. So in my circle, I see a lot of support, and I got that when I was just starting out too. The guys that helped me when I was first DJing were very supportive. I didn't see a lot of competition. So I think for the most part it's there, but you still get some of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Guys, I think with egos and want to just hate a little bit, but
Right. No, that's awesome that the majority of it is supportive. And I know exactly, I've been on some podcast Facebook groups, and it's the same thing. Like you see someone ask a question and someone just rags on them for it. And then sure, like the competitive side of me goes to that person that was being rude to their podcast. I'm like, it's interesting that you thought you could be rude and that you thought your skill level is at the level that you're saying, because it is not. And you should definitely be asking more questions than criticizing people. It's a bizarre world.
I've done the same thing with the DJs. I'm like,
yeah,
I've seen your stuff and it's not amazing.
Yeah, it's like, you better be Joe Rogan, dude, because this is your comments.
Well,
it's just a trash mentality, in my opinion, but
for sure.
And it's too bad when you are so harsh and so critical and treat someone like that's a stupid question when, hello, you've been there too. Like,
right.
Like you don't just come out of the room DJing, knowing how to do, like you have to start from some. So no one, in my opinion, no one really wants to learn from someone like that. So
right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
and I think helping other people actually helps yourself.
Right.
And sometimes I'll answer a question in a group, and then they may come back with a question that to follow up with that, and maybe it's something I haven't thought about yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gets me thinking about some aspect of my business. I'm like, oh, I should look into that. And now, because I took some time to answer, I got a little something that got me thinking and my mind working, and now I'm growing in a different direction. And it doesn't happen every time, but I mean, I don't know. I just think the more you help, the more it comes back to you.
100%. That's a good soundbite. I need to mark that down because I like that a lot.
Yeah.
It's so true. Like it's such a simple thing, but I think sometimes people reach a certain point in their craft where they think all of a sudden they forget where they came from. And I think the moment you forget where you came from is a moment where you start slipping a little bit. And I think you start losing yourself as a person. And, I think eventually it's going to affect what you do, and how well you do it. Like you said, you're going to miss out on so many opportunities to learn. And, it's just not a great situation.
Yeah. And my mind just went to is, I got on TikTok, and my goal for TikTok was to show people I knew how to mix. I just wanted people to see that I could do this, because there weren't a lot of options. I was getting shut down on Facebook. A lot of DJs were during the pandemic when we were trying to do mixes live for people, when everybody was in their houses.
Right.
There's a site where you can host DJ mixes legally and not have to pay royalties, that kind of thing. But nobody was really seeing them, because if you try to promote it on Instagram or Facebook, the algorithm doesn't want to show it.
Right.
So it was really frustrating. So I started putting these little mixes out on Instagram stories, just to transition from one song to the next. And that's what my TikToks were. was just what I was already doing. Well, then as I started to blow up, it actually started making me more creative. And I started watching other DJs that were doing similar things on TikTok and getting better. So because I started putting things out on TikTok and put myself out there, I've become a better DJ just by trying to put better content out. And so I don't really know what my point was there, but it's just the thought of like not getting better. It's just really hard for me to accept. Like, I just have to always be trying to push myself in some way.
Yeah. Which is
like
awesome.
It's like your followers motivate you, like, got to give the people what they want. It probably makes you happy to see like so many, like, it's probably like not, you seem like a humble, guy, to where it's not all about you in your head. You're like, no, this is, people are enjoying this and making them smile and making them happy. I got to figure out some more things to throw out there, not just to save face, but just to probably, keep up with, other people listening and sharing your content. And, so that kind of probably pushes you to do more, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a little bit of like, I don't know, there's some ego there where I'm like, okay, I gotta step up what I just did. But there is a lot of people are watching and they love what I do. And that is fulfilling. And so now I want to be even more creative. And so, yeah, just like you said.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I feel like that ego, it's got to be there a little. It's got to be there a little bit. We're competitive.
Yeah,
we're like Deb and I used to host a sports podcast, and so we get that world. It's like there's a part of it that helps, also propels you forward. You know what I mean? And so I don't think it's a bad thing at all. Plus, like, it's got to be a good feeling, like just like an athlete who has an amazing game, right? And you hear people talk afterwards. Well, it's like a professional or college athlete that you hear on the radio or social media. Maybe you're at the high school level and you just like walk out the field, like other people and parents are saying like, that's a great game. It's the same thing for you, right? Like, you do an event, and then as you're packing up, people like, want to get your business card, and they want to follow you on social media because they're like, that guy killed it. I need more of what he's doing. That's got to be a good feeling.
It's amazing. And when I got into it, I didn't realize that is the kind of response I would get every time I performed. And it's almost addicting in a way. Like, when I worked at the news station and I had a busy day and I know, like, I kicked ass and I put all these stories together and I did this great editing, nobody'd say anything. It was just like, all right, see you guys. Let's do it all over again tomorrow. Do it all over again tomorrow. And then maybe once in a while you get a review and you're doing a good job, but we need to fix these things. And I don't know, but doing an event, you're good at it. People are high-fiving you, you're getting 5-star reviews. And then, it's just very satisfying. It almost, I don't know. It feels really good. Yeah. And it's almost like I want, like, for weddings, for example, I want to do my best for the couples and the people, but I also am looking for a little bit of that, like, satisfaction.
100%. What I was going to say, obviously this podcast is about connection and connecting with people. And, when you and I chatted this morning about, just kind of what to expect for the podcast, one of the things I mentioned to you was, like, we want to know what your mentality is when it comes to connecting with your audience, whether it's at a lounge, a club, a wedding. Specifically, I saw you post a video recently about a wedding. Like, what is your mentality when you go into an event like that, and how, like, what type of things do you do to make sure that you connect with the audience? Like, are you very aware of the demographic that you're DJing for? Are you aware of the style of music that is more popular at that point? Like, what are the things that you do to connect with people?
Yeah, it starts probably from the booking process, asking a lot of questions about whoever's hosting the event. Like I said, I do a lot of weddings, so I'll just use weddings as an example, but I'm connecting with the couple first and making sure that, for the most part, we have a good relationship and I know who they are and I understand their taste in music and what kind of parties they would typically throw and what that vibe is like, and who the guests are and what does that side think is fun and this side. So I'm trying to really create this picture and idea of what this party is going to be like. And then throughout the planning process, asking more questions, getting song requests from them. And then when it's day of the wedding, trying to talk to people, reading crowd, like you have to be prejudiced in a way, like not prejudice, that's a bad word. What's like I'm
Well,
kind of
just like the clientele who's there, like you kind of get the feel for like what type of music they like.
yeah, I'm trying to guess, like, okay, table 2, they're kind of a young hipster crowd. I'm thinking they're
Right.
going to be like this, you know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like judge them a little bit to
Yeah.
and I'm paying attention when during cocktail hour, like who's tapping their foot to or bobbing or singing along to this 90s track. Like the last two weddings ago, there was this group in the back when I played I don't remember what song it was, but it was some 90s track, R&B, hip hop, something like that. And this girl was just like singing and getting down. And, you know, it's only 4:30 in the afternoon. And I'm like, okay, those are my people. So I know that might be some music I have to play early on to get that lady and her friends out on the dance floor.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, that's I guess my thought process there
for
weddings.
I like that.
It's a fun, I guess no pun intended, dance
like a screening
that you have to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like a constant, like it's like a puzzle you're putting together, and then at the end of it, hopefully you have this like just beautiful puzzle with all of this fun and joy that's created. But you kind of have to put the pieces together first. I like that.
Yeah.
I have a DJ question for you really quick. It's like I love dancing, and I love, like, if there's a song, if no one's out there, I don't care. I'm going to be the only one out there dancing. And so
you're my favorite people.
I'll try to get other people to go out there too. I was recently on a cruise, and there's always like a club, like on one of the, on a floor. Do you, as a DJ, do you have, well, like you said, you try to see what kind of music they like. So does that mean, like, do you have a lineup preset already? Things, I don't know how it works. So like, do you have things already set that you're going to play, or are you like able to take requests and change or do it on the fly? Because I remember I went the music that this DJ was playing, and I was on the last night. The other 2 nights, I don't know if it was the same DJ. I don't know. I don't pay attention. I just dance. I have no idea who's DJing. I don't know. And so the first 2 nights, the music, like, they killed it. Everyone was out there. The third night, like, again, if I'm the only one out there, something's wrong. So like, the music wasn't great. And so I remember my friend went up and like requested a song, and he kind of like waved her off and basically said like, I know how to, I don't know if he got offended. I don't know. So she's like, okay. And he never played that song that we requested. So I don't know how it works though. I don't know if, like, do you have a set thing? Like, I want to make sure I don't offend a DJ by asking for a song that may have been offensive, like, hey, change the song. But like, how does that work? And how do you deal with that? Do people ask you for requests and stuff like that?
Anyway, feel free to give her all the wrong answers, and then we'll video the whole thing and see how horribly it goes.
Just set her up for failure.
Watch me go offend the DJ.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hold your phone up and put every song request on your phone and in his face and say, play it now, or I'm leaving.
With like a bullhorn, like,
no,
definitely touch his table, right?
No, so it's a complicated answer because it depends on the DJ. I think DJs are known to have egos and think, I know what's best, and I'm not going to take your request because I know what I'm doing. But and I was kind of like that when I was younger. But for me now, I try to be as open to requests as possible, as long as people are nice to me about it. Like, some people are rude, and I'm like, I don't want to play your song if you're going to treat me like trash, because I'm a DJ. But most people are nice. So let's see. So to answer your question, I have if it's an event, like a wedding or a private event or wherever, a public event, I have a general idea of what I'm going to play, and I might even have some requests up front. But I'm still reading the crowd. I'm definitely open to requests because I want to make the crowd happy. And if someone like you comes up and I have an empty dance floor and you want to hear a song, I'm playing that song as long as it fits what, is within the construct of what I'm supposed to be, the vibe I'm supposed to be creating. Then I'll play it. and work it for a while and see if it helps. So I don't know, I wasn't there, but it sounds like the DJ probably should have played your friend's song.
Yeah, they should have. There was no one out there.
Worked up some, like unless he had some sort of, I don't know, like restrictions put on him by the manager, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like if it were you, you would have played it, because literally it was just me and my friend out there, and literally people are watching, just sitting and watching, like just sitting down. So I'm like, oh, like I think they want different music. I'll dance to anything almost, but we were trying to play, like someone in the crowd actually was like, I wish he would play like this song. And so my friend's like, oh, I'll go ask him. And then he didn't. I don't know. It was weird. So I didn't know the etiquette on that, but that makes sense. It does. I guess it does depend on who it is and the situation. And
I think it's fine. I think requests are fine. And weddings are tricky because you get a lot of diverse opinions. But I try to be. I'll even try to ask questions. Like, so I had a wedding last year where dance floor was packed almost the whole night, and they're getting pretty lit. Like it was a good party, but this really pretty drunk groomsman came up and he asked for this Brooks and Dunn song. It's country. And I'm like, what? And then I was like, I don't know, man. I seem kind of slow. I think it's going to kill the vibe. He's like, no, trust me. He didn't really explain it to me. And then another groomsman came up and said, will you play that song? And then he said, will you play it and then play Too Short? And I'm like, what?
Huh?
I'm like, okay, wait, explain this to me. Like real quick, I got a packed dance floor, right? Music's loud. I'm like, tell me why. Why do you want me to play this? And he said when the groom was planning his wedding, they watched this viral video on YouTube of this DJ who mixed a Brooks and Dunn song into, or it went from Brooks and Dunn to Too Short. And it was slick. And then when he said that, I was like, I remember that video. And the groom said, if my wedding isn't like Brooks and Dunn and Too Short, then I don't want to have a wedding.
Oh shit.
So it was just sort of a joke, right, amongst them. But he goes, if you play it, he'll actually dance and it'll kill. So I played the Brooks and Dunn song, just a clip of it, and it didn't clear the dance floor, thankfully. And then I mixed in this Too Short bass line under this country song. Wow. And the crowd went crazy. And then that elevated the dance party even more. So I attribute my, I don't know, ability to be open-minded to certain requests and asking questions to making that party better. And that guy helped me do that.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Fun. How did you do that on the spot? I don't understand why. I just don't understand how being a DJ works, period. But like, that's great. It's crazy how you could you're like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. It's like,
I've just been doing it long enough. I can mix that kind of stuff together. That's awesome. But so that's connecting with your crowd, I think, in a way.
That's really good.
Well, I think that's cool too. Well, and there's a quote that we've posted on our Instagram before. I'm gonna mess it up a little bit, but the general idea is like creativity is connecting the seemingly unconnected. And so, which is kind of what you're doing. I know the name Brooks and Dunn. I am not a country fan at all. Love hip hop. So when you said Too Short, I'm like, oh, there you go. Just, some country song in to blow the whistle. That's cool. But
exactly. That's what it was.
Okay, that makes sense. But again, like you're doing that very thing that quote's saying. Like you're connecting the seeming unconnected, and that's where like all that creativity is coming from. And I imagine that's where the request could be kind of fun. Like it's kind of like, it's kind of like a stand-up comic, doing crowd work and then getting some random topic from someone and then riffing on that for 5 minutes. It's like, I wasn't expecting this, but like, watch me do my thing and see how creative I can get. Like that would be a cool part of the request, as annoying as they may be sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's such a great analogy. I've been listening to Joe Rogan lately, and when he speaks with other comedians, and a lot of the topics, the things they talk about being a stand-up comic is kind of like being a DJ. There's a lot of parallels to that. So what you just said about kind of riffing on something that you weren't expecting to is really true. And it makes it even that much more exciting.
Oh, 100%. Well, because I'm not sure. I love stand-up comedy, and I've been to plenty of shows, and there's a huge difference in how you view a comic when you go to see a show. And there's obviously, alcohol involved, people start running their mouths, and then you have the heckler. And then when you see a comic that can like masterfully handle that, where it doesn't kill the vibe of the show and they can just keep going, and it's even more funny than what they had originally planned, is amazing. And then you see someone that can't handle it and it comes to a screeching halt, and it's like, oh, like, I know this is not your fault and this person's being rude, but at the same time, like, I still feel a different way about you as a comic because you couldn't handle it in the moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're missing like a skill there.
Yeah. And so I think the same, like you said, with a DJ, same thing. If like you have a request and all of a sudden it throws the whole thing off, it's like, oh, it's not great. But if you have a DJ that can just seamlessly blend that into what they're already doing, it's such a cool thing. Again, I'm with Deb. I don't know how to do it. I play the iPod, my iPhone. That's as far as it goes. I tried playing trumpet in 6th grade. Not great.
I tried trumpet too at 4th grade, I think.
Okay. See, I was like 5th or 6th.
I was okay.
Yeah, it's a horrible, if it sounds good, it sounds great. But here's my thinking, Eric. This is how you can tell I'm not a musician. A bunch of my friends were doing it. I'm like, okay, they were picking like clarinet. And I saw the clarinet. I'm like, do you see all that silver on there? That's so many buttons. I can't do that. I saw the trumpet has 3 buttons. I'm like, how hard can this be? I was awful. Turns out it's incredibly hard.
It's really hard. Yeah.
It's super hard. So yeah, now I just let you guys do your thing and I listen to whatever you guys create, because you guys are the true pros when it comes to music creation. Yeah, my whole family suffered when I was playing trumpet. Like they're like, practice for 30 minutes. 30 minutes.
Like, oh my gosh.
Listen to this.
We'll go outside.
Yeah. The whole family went out. It's like, yeah, Josh is practicing again. So let me ask you this. This is a question that my brother actually gave me when we had DJ Christopher on a while ago. And I'm just interested to hear what your thoughts are. So imagine you were in charge of a festival and they said, okay, we're letting you pick 3 artists to basically base this festival off of. I wish this is a dope question. I wish this was mine. I can't even take credit. Who would be the 3 artists that you would choose to make the centerpiece of that festival?
And it could be any
genre? Any genre, anybody you want, whatever you feel would be the ingredients for a dope festival. That would be the 3 you choose. It's like picking your favorite kids.
That is so hard to think about, but man. Okay, so one of my favorite groups of all time are, excuse me, sorry about that. If you heard that beep.
Nope, you're good. Deb's phone rang last episode, so you're good, Eric.
Oh yeah, okay. Someone FaceTimed me and it linked. I thought I had it silenced on my Mac and it didn't. So
she did not.
It took me a while to figure out how to turn it off. It's great.
Whoops, edit.
Yeah, no, we left it in. I wanted her to feel that. I'm like, this is the kind of unprofessionalism I'm dealing with every week, people. So it's nice to be on with someone who can actually record something. Go ahead, Eric.
That's hilarious. So one of my favorite groups of all time is the Roots. I love the Roots, and I've been listening to them since, I don't know, when did they start coming out? Like mid 90s, late 90s.
Yeah.
And just one of the best shows I ever saw was in San Francisco, and it was the Roots and Rage Against the Machine. But so I would have to include the Roots, even though they're kind of like aging now, but they're just brilliant.
Yeah.
And it'd have to be the Roots because I just love them so much. And then I would probably pick a DJ like A-Track or somebody that just really is masterful at scratching and using samples and just able to just work a crowd and way beyond what I can do. Would be really wild. And then you got to bring in somebody like Tiesto who can just,
there you go,
just legend.
Even
though that's different genres, you got hip hop and like sort of this like I don't know, I guess he's housey, but like what do you call him, like a turntablist. Sure. And then an EDM DJ. I just think that would just be a nice little, that would fulfill me. I wouldn't care what anybody else thought, but I'd be like, I'd be jacked to see all of those.
Hey man, that's the point of the question. So what does it matter in this case? I know you have to like, play to your audience. Not this time, man. You just, the 3 you like, that's perfect. I love it.
Yeah, no, that'd be good.
I like it. That's a good
but I love all music, so it's almost all music, and so that's a tough question, but
okay. Since you said almost all music, that piques my interest. Like, what's the one that you don't like?
Oh, I don't know. Probably really dark metal or screamo type, just stuff that has, to me, no rhythm whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's something I can't really vibe
Can't
with.
really get down on the dance floor with that music.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I don't want to see a goat sacrifice on stage. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
not really
I
my
hear
thing.
you.
Yeah. Or in some cases, maybe a person. Some of those shows get wild.
Yeah,
So,
no, I'm good.
yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I can't do it either. So it's between that and country. It's not, those aren't my favorite, but like you said, you know, when I hear something like, that's why I liked your stuff, man. Is like I'll see the image, right? The cover photo on Instagram, and I'll see the names of the songs. Like, okay, I like that R&B or hip hop song. That's cool. And then I'm like, what? I don't even know the other one. It's like, it must be country. And then I hear you do your thing. And it's like, oh, I hate to give it up, but I have to. That was dope. I like it. You know,
I get a
who knows,
lot of
man?
comments like that.
I'm sure you might turn me into a country fan.
Yeah, they go, I don't even like country, but that's fire.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but you know, it's like I have had a couple videos where I've tried to force it, but for the most part, I don't want to force it. I want it to sound, I don't know. I just want it to sound dope. And as long as it does, then I'll share it.
Yeah.
I don't want
Well,
it
it's
to be
actually,
too corny.
yeah. And I'm sure there's a lot of opportunities for that. Like you could do
Oh yeah.
something super simple and people would just shake their head like that was not the one. But like, let me ask you this: like, if something comes to your mind, what is a mix or a song that you really wanted to mix with something and mash up with something else, but it just wasn't working, or maybe it worked eventually, but it just took you a really long time to figure out how to make the pieces fit?
One that comes to mind is so one of my favorite songs is by the Talking Heads. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the name of it.
As soon as we,
Oh my gosh, it's totally,
you're gonna think of it as soon as we hang up with you.
yeah, it might come to me.
Yeah.
But there's a
Yeah.
group called Sure who covered that song.
Okay.
And I love because the Talking Head song is from the 80s and the Sure version's from like 2018, something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mash these up because they're totally different in their approach. And that's what I love about people who when they cover songs and it's not an identical like version of the original.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I'm usually impressed by it. And that's what they did. And I wanted to mash those up and weave them in. And they're just so different though, that I can't make it work. And I haven't figured it out yet. They're in different keys and the tempos are a little different. So that's been I know it's not like a flashy answer, but that's one that has been kind of driving me crazy that I couldn't do.
This is how highly I think of you. I just assume that like I could throw a song at you and you could just mix it. So it's nice to hear that you're human and that there is one out there that's you're struggling with.
Yeah, and there's a guy who I think it's a guy on TikTok that keeps requesting George Strait and Tupac. And
Interesting.
I like how there's this random guy that just keeps reaching out to you.
Yeah, all the time. If I'm on a live, if I post a TikTok video, he says, still waiting on that George Strait Tupac mix. Part of me is just sort of jaded now. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to do it because you just keep asking. But
That's so funny.
But I tried. I kind of messed around and I just couldn't make it work. I don't know. I wasn't feeling it. It just sounded too off. So I feel like you gotta have the right puzzle pieces.
Right. Absolutely.
Do you mainly do weddings?
Primarily. Yeah. Okay. That's it. Yeah. And I did that. I didn't 2010 and early before that, but it was basically how I could make a living as a DJ. Right. I thought at that time. So I really built up a wedding brand.
Nice.
Now I'm trying to evolve and get out of weddings.
Oh, there you go.
Do other things.
Deb, there's one of Eric's most recent videos. I think you posted over the weekend. It was from a wedding, and it was so funny because you have the camera right. You're filming kind of to the right, and the caption or the overlay text basically says something like, you got the crowd when you hear the woo, but I'm like a mile away, and then you pan over. And your DJ booth it feels like literally a mile away from the dance floor. It was so like, I felt uncomfortable for you. Like that is so far away. That's gotta be tough going to those situations where it's like, you can't control certain things and it makes your job a little bit more difficult, but you just you got to kind of roll with it. That was, that did make me laugh though. I'm like, he was not joking. That dance floor is so far away.
So far away. Yeah, it was that's rare, but this
I've never
particular
seen it before.
wedding planner, I think revolves her whole layout around a centerpiece that hangs from the ceiling. So it's dance floor, tables all around, and then DJ just kind of gets fit wherever the DJ can go, and it doesn't make sense.
You could have done that set from your house, man. You were so far away.
I
don't
should
know
have
where
just
that
like
was.
Bluetoothed it in or streamed it in.
At that point, man, it would have saved you on gas. I mean, a lot of time and effort. You could have just done that from your house. Like, you were so far. And I thought, okay, it's funny. And then I'm like, I wonder how bad it really is. And then you pan over, it's like, oh, that's so bad. That's so bad.
Weird. I personally would like the DJ close by, like as a, I don't know.
You do. That's normally how it is. That was kind of a rare. I think that's why it stood out, because it was so rare. But
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was funny to me because I was not the DJ.
Yeah.
If I was the DJ, I'm like, this is awful. I don't want to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
just had to crank up the music really loud. But
yeah. What would you say has been your biggest challenge in this whole process of your DJ business?
Oh, that's good.
the most challenging part, just since the beginning, or
since the beginning, like I guess from the beginning until now, if you could pick even a couple of them, like what has been like your most challenging moments?
one is learning how to run a business. Like I'm a DJ and an artist first. So learning how to be a DJ or learning how to run a business is a totally different skill set. And I've had to hire coaches and read a lot of books, and I've spent a lot of time and energy working to learn the business side of things so that I have good cash flow, so I can invest in equipment and all of these things. And it's served me well. I've been a student of that, and it's helped a lot. When I started DJing, I was not much of a public speaker. And one of my first weddings that I did, I had a mic, but I didn't like to use it. And the bride came up to me and said, "Hey, we were in one room and the dinner was in the other room." She said, "Hey, will you make an announcement to let all the guests know that dinner is about to start and to move into the other room?" And I like held the mic. I like sighed. I couldn't do it. I put the mic down and I just walked around and talked to people and said, "Hey, we're moving over to." And after that, I was like, I can't do this. I can't be afraid like of public speaking if I want to be in this business. So, and I like turned down, when I was in news, I turned down being a reporter. I got asked to be on camera and I was like, I wouldn't do it. So that was a big hurdle for me, was overcoming my fear of public speaking. So I went to Toastmasters and learned how to get over that fear. And so I did that for about 3 or 4 years. And that was a huge hurdle for me. And now I'm in front of millions of people. It's
right. It's like nothing. It's just practice, like repetition type thing. Like you're just kind of, you're used to it. I used to be really, really shy, extremely shy. And then I started teaching. I don't know why I thought that would be a good profession for me. I'm like, I'm not gonna talk in front of teenagers, but no, but like, I just remember my first year, like my student teaching in my first year of teaching, like just like my heart beating, and I'm just like mini panic, like, oh my God, like what if I'm, and now I'm whatever. It's just like riding a bike. So I imagine it's the same thing in terms of like, you just get used to it. And like you said, doing your Toastmasters, like that probably helped. So, but that's good information to know for anyone out there who wants to like start a DJ business or something in the realm of public speaking. Like it's possible. You just need to get out there, and it's just practice. It's just getting used to being in front of people and using the microphone, stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, I guess DJ was like my one job, but I felt like growing a business was a second job, and learning how to grow a business. I treated it like school. Like I would, at the time I didn't have an office. Now I do, but I made the library my office. So I would go to the library and dedicate time in the evenings during the week to study and work on things. And so I purposely like set time aside to just learn. And I still do for the most part.
That's good. It's like
Yeah.
the learning never stops.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
No.
Something.
Yeah.
Which is what we talked about at the beginning. We came full circle here. Just
Full
keep coming back to it. The learning is so important. I know we only have you for about 7-ish more minutes. So I want to make sure we're, I think is our time, is our clock the same?
We're good. Yeah. That went by fast.
Yeah.
Which is always a good thing.
It's
When
like,
some people are like, it's only been this long, and they're like, oh, this interview didn't go well. But no, it's been fun, man. We get to ask all of our questions about something that we know very little about. We get to enjoy what you do, but we have no clue how it actually works.
well, and it's helpful for me too, because I'm the one, like I said, likes to dance, and I'm like, what's etiquette? Can I ask for song requests? Like, what is it? So that was helpful to get the insight of like what the work that goes into it and stuff. So anyway.
What about, something I see quite a bit from people that get married. Sometimes like because we follow a couple different DJs. How do you feel about like letting the bride or the groom put the headphones on? Are you okay with that?
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure that was like a no-no, because I see it. I'm like, I can't tell the DJs like, I wish you would get out of my space and just go dance, but you're okay with that.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I know there's a company in my town. There was a DJ. I think he left this company, but he always posted videos of him with the bride and groom at the turntables.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was kind of like his branding, so to speak. Like the couples got to do that, and I always thought that was kind of cool.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
All right, good. So everybody, I hope you guys learned something from that question, because in case you want to do that and you're getting married soon, you want to put the headphones on, it might be okay with a DJ. Depending, you can hire Eric and then you know for sure it's okay.
Yeah.
If you hire another DJ, it could go sideways and they're like, get out of my space. So wanted to ask that, but hey, this is kind of taking it in a very different direction.
Okay.
I'm going to make some assumptions here. You seem, based on pictures, you seem like you're in pretty decent shape. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, I take care of myself. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And you're a good looking dude. I want to say, I don't want that to be weird. My wife's like, are you gonna make another comment about one of your guy guests on here? Like,
he has a brokerage on you. He already made the football comment. It's fine. He already knows.
I know. But every time, seriously, my wife's like, okay, what comment did you make about their parents? I said, I don't know. I made like 5. So there it is. She's fine with it. But so like I said, you seem like you're in pretty decent shape. How important is your health and your physical health when it comes to DJing? Because you're on your feet for a long time, and sometimes you're in environments where it's probably pretty hot. You have to stay hydrated and all that stuff. So like, how important is that to what you do? Because I think it seems like it wouldn't maybe be that important, but I think when you really think about what a DJ does, it seems like it's almost crucial to being really good at what you do. But like, how do you feel about all of that and how those things are connected?
It's huge. I think having, I'm not a perfect eater, but I have a pretty healthy diet. I've been working out consistently since 2009. It's just part of my life and who I am. And it's really funny. I was thinking about that on Sunday. I had a wedding 2 days ago, and it was in this like pavilion area, this tent. It's really beautiful, but I had to move these speakers, big subs, up this grassy hill, and then it was like concrete slab, and each time I had to lift my leg up really high and do this like leg step up with these speakers and all this equipment. And I really was thankful for myself. I'm like, man, if I wasn't in shape, this would be really hard.
Yeah.
But I was able to do all of that, and it just felt good. Actually, it felt good to lift that stuff because I'm healthy and I hadn't worked out in a couple of days, and so it felt nice, and I had the energy, and I think it's really, really important. And I know how much water to drink. I drink a gallon a day, so I'm never super dehydrated. It helps my voice. It's all these things.
Nice.
So
yeah,
it's really important.
And it keeps you energetic too, because it's like
right.
The party, what you do is like at night, late at night usually. And so it's not like you're sleeping. I mean, maybe you are, but like, it's not like you're up all day, probably like doing other stuff too, preparing. And so you need to like endure and last. So like being in good shape helps, and being hydrated helps with all that too. So
yeah. Absolutely. It's important. I've learned a lesson though. Not some DJs do this, but I learned not to work out on wedding days. I used to work out like in the morning but I burned so much energy that by the time the end of the night happened, I was pretty wiped. So I try to get plenty of sleep and not work too hard until the day of the wedding, or until the time of the wedding, so that I have all that energy. But yeah, absolutely, working out helps.
Yeah, go up there with like your BCAs next to you while you're doing your DJ set, just in case.
I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah. See, there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this before we get you out of here. This is again a random question, but obviously you're a big fan of music, and I'm sure you have opinions when albums come out and artists release certain projects. Obviously, over the last month or two, Drake released his most recent project, and it was very, very divisive, depending on the style of music that you like and what you expect him to release. What do you think about it, Drake's most recent release?
So I like that style of music,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought the album was kind of boring, even though I liked it.
Yeah.
Like musically, I just don't like. I'm not a big fan of Drake singing.
Okay. Yeah.
The way he does it, it just doesn't connect with me. But
Sure.
some of those beats, like I love the production on it.
Okay.
But
Okay,
I think
so let
I'd
me ask
rather
you-
listen to him rap.
I'm with you. Well, I think one of my favorites of his is if you're reading this, it's too late. Like, and I feel like he does a decent amount of rapping on that project. So I'm with you. But so let me ask you this: if you could take the music from that album and just remove him completely, like who's another artist that you would like to just plug in and take over that album?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know.
Bring in the heaters at the end here.
Questions.
Dang, man, I don't have an answer for that. I wish I did.
That's okay. That's okay. That's gonna be something that you can
Now
send
you
us
got me
on
thinking.
in the DMs. Let us know, and we'll share it with everybody what your answer was on that.
Yeah,
We've done that before. We ask questions like that, and we're like, why would you ask that right now? Put me on the spot. So
You need to give them a heads up to think about it ahead of time.
I know.
yeah, that's a tough one. Man, I'd almost put. Part of me thinks that maybe a female vocalist would fit.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I don't know who that would be.
All right.
Sorry, I don't have a good answer for you.
That's okay. That means I like to think that was a good question then, like it's a challenging question. So you can let us know later after you have some time to think about it. And we'll wait. We're patient. We can wait for the answer. Yeah. He's like, I'm not gonna think about this question until after I leave.
We're gonna wait just like we're waiting for the George Strait and Tupac.
Right. You're like, where's your answer?
Yeah, you're gonna see us on the lives too. It's like, oh, not Connectable again. I shouldn't have done that podcast. That was a bad idea.
No,
now they won't leave me alone. Deb, do you have any other questions before we get Eric out of here?
No, because it'll branch off to 10 more questions. So we're gonna, if I ask more questions, we'll keep him hostage for another hour. So we better wrap up.
That's the responsible host answer.
Maybe we could do a round 2 sometime.
Yeah.
Amen. I love it. I hope you realize what you just did, because we take that very seriously. We'll definitely invite you back. So if you're like,
this was fun. I like talking with you guys.
Awesome. Well, we always like to hear that. That's awesome. Appreciate that. So so before we get you out of here, the main things, man, where can they follow you? TikTok, social media, website, all of those things. And anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
Sure. I basically have 2 brands, DJ Eric Rhodes, and then Rhodes Entertainment. So Rhodes, RHODES. So if you TikTok, Instagram, Mixcloud, which is where I host my mixes.
Oh,
that's all DJ Eric Rhodes. And then my website though is Rhodes Entertainment.
gotcha. Perfect.
It's pretty straightforward, but DJ Eric Rhodes will get you where you need to go.
Perfect.
And then on TikTok, I just Googled Eric Rhodes and it boom, right there. You were at the top, DJ Eric Rhodes. So
awesome.
It was easy to find on both Instagram and TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's get DJ Eric to 2 million followers on TikTok to make it really blow up. And in all seriousness, if you love music, and I'd say even if you don't love music, like it's still fun to follow Eric, because you know all of the mixes you post, and just I think like you mentioned before, bringing that positive energy to people, and you never know who's going to connect with. Someone might be having a really bad day, and they see one of your videos with a fun mix, and then that might be just a little bit of hope that can get them through the rest of the day. So, and definitely appreciate what you do. And absolutely, we would love to have you back on at some point. We'll think of a creative thing to have you back on for. It won't just be just a conversation like this. We'll do something a little bit different next time. But man, definitely appreciate your time. And thank you so much for sharing. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Sounds good. I had a good time, and I appreciate you. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, you guys, we will talk to you next week. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable podcast.